So I was a camp director. I loved being in front of people, making people laugh, and I think that that was my calling on things. Then I went into school counseling because I wanted to do more than just one classroom, grading papers, etc. So I was a school counselor for many years. I did a lot of leadership with that. And in my opinion, the school counselor is one of the most important positions in a school for everyone. And then the next stage in that was to become a professor. So then I was a professor training the next generation of school counselors, and I had some extra time. So I remembered my 12-year-old student when I was a school counselor who had come into my office and said to me, "Miss Koenecke, it's easier pretending to be a boy than it is to be gay in this town." And at that point in my life, I wasn't out to the students yet because I was afraid that I would get fired. And it changed everything. I started writing a blog, which turned into a book. And then I did a TED Talk. And I like being on stage. And I think when it comes to having the dream to be a speaker, not necessarily. It's more about getting the message out there. And now my message is all about how can we save lives.
Okay. So what is your definition of a life saved?
Any kid who is questioning their identity, who may have been picked on, bullied, whatever it is, if they reach out for help, maybe they even see my book because it has a rainbow on the cover, and they determine that it does get better and they don't complete a suicide or run away or do anything else that's harmful, that's a win for me. So saving a life is giving allies words and verbiage to say to empower a young person to be comfortable in their own skin, however, whoever they are. So that's a saved life for me.
That sentence right before "that's a saved life for me" is the exact kind of stuff I'm going for. Like, love it. I'm going to have to plug in those lights in the next few minutes just so I make sure they're on, but that's awesome.
Good.
Can you tell me about a time that you've personally, that's something that's happened to you personally, kind of thrust you forward into, I need to do something about this and I need to be a louder voice?
It was the same 12-year-old student.
12-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. But I can talk about another thing that thrust me into wanting to be more of an advocate was making sure I had been told to write a book. I had been asked to write a book. So I had this blog. And so I wrote a book. And I did it in a very, very short amount of time. And it's a fun, quick book. It has resources in it so that anyone who wants to be an ally, you'll know what to say, when to say it, how to say it. And it'll take you from a small A ally to where maybe you've never said anything when you hear a homophobic or a transphobic joke to a capital A ally. And that's when lives get saved. If someone steps in as an advocate and says, "You know what, that's not cool. You shouldn't be doing that." And so that was, having the book is a resource that is instrumental in how I want to save lives.
So tell me about this book. What is it called? How does it benefit people? And what was the inspiration for writing it?
The book is called Be an Inclusion Ally, the ABCs of LGBTQ+. When coming up with the title, inclusion was the most important word. And so then we just kind of fiddled around with what it was going to be. And then I wanted people to know that it's easy, it's accessible, hence the ABCs. And so literally there are 26 chapters in the book, and the first one is how to be an ally. And then I take you through, maybe you've heard the term bisexual, I'm sure most people have. Most people haven't heard of cisgender, which is, it's spelled CISGENDER, and I am a cisgender female, which means I was born female. I still identify as female. So I help people when they hear these terms. Maybe it is a soccer parent or a grandparent or a neighborhood person, and they're doing a carpool and the kids are talking about, "Hey, did you hear what, so-and-so is transitioning," and they're using the terms. And so it's enlightening the older generation to help the younger generation, if that makes sense. So,
Totally makes sense.
yeah.
You're so good at this.
Thank you.
And you're so good at this because you're not like, because your heart's in it.
Oh, yeah.
And you're not, I just want to make sure you're not saying something you say on stage, right? Like not like repeating something.
There are so many different versions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So you stay pretty, so in your stage, I'll say call it stage work,
Mm-hmm.
right? Do you stick to your script or do you kind of, how do you kind of customize your stuff for a client and how much of it on stage, even if you have certain things planned, do you kind of change it up a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the audience and what determines that?
So when whomever I'm working with, I always do research on them to see how far in the journey they are, maybe diversity, equity, inclusion, maybe they don't even know what the letters of LGBTQ stand for. So I find out where they're at and I meet them there. I never ever shame anyone in the process. And I think my message is packaged in 3 words, and those words are show, shift, and shape. And so that anyone can remember, even if you don't get the words right, it's the SH. So show how to be an ally, a rainbow. That's it. That's all you have to do. Check. And then shifting mindsets and perceptions in that, you know what, I want to help, but I don't know what to say. The book helps with that. My talks, my presentations will shift you into, yeah, I could do that. I could advocate for someone, so that eventually it leads us into shaping policies, whether it's legislation or school policies or registration forms or anything having to do in the world of human resources. That's really what I want to see, so that if you, let's say you have a social event, and rather than always assuming that a female is married to a male, you can say, oh, well, bring your spouses. A, not everyone is married. B, not everyone has a spouse. And so it's just, it is about inclusion and thinking outside of the lines, and to say, oh, well, right, Lisa's wife, she can come. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. So in your how much stage work have you done? Like how many?
I've given a TED Talk,
Okay.
and it's called Allies Save Lives. And I have presented currently at the time of this filming, I'm at 32 states in Canada. So I have presented all over the country. Lots of school counseling conferences.
So school counseling conferences, and so can you give me an example of any time someone has come up to you afterwards and go, "You changed my life," something like that?
I get a lot of my sibling is gay, or I had this situation when, this kid came out to me and I wasn't sure what to say. Anything, no pun intended, everything under the rainbow. And it turns, a lot of it is, I've been told I'm very approachable. I am Lisa K, your everyday gay. I can be your gay Google if that's what you want. And if I don't know the answer, I'll help you find that. And I think it's bringing down the barriers and the stereotypes. I go to the grocery store, I pick up dog poop just like everyone else does. So when I'm on stage or doing trainings or whatever it is, and people come up to me, they just want to be heard. They want someone to listen to, and that's what I do.
Freaking love it. Making sure you're still in focus here.
Do we have to do anything with the lights?
No, I
Okay.
know it looks dark in here, but it's not.
Okay.
Sony cameras are like jokingly able to see in the dark.
That's cool.
So I mean the sun is.
Oh, I
going
trust
down.
you.
So I mean the sun is going down, so I'm gonna have to adjust it every once in a while, but yeah, it works for me. I like this.
Cool.
So okay. So if I'm gonna who basically what I'm gonna ask is who's looking for you?
Yep.
What needs do you meet? That kind of thing. You can make that sound as natural as possible.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't met a million people here and said the things.
I have been asked, who is my market? Who should I reach out to and serve them? And as cliche as it sounds, I don't want to serve everyone, so I'll put that one out there. But I want to serve those who want to learn. I want to serve the allies, whether they're small A allies or capital A allies. It's someone who's open to having me come in and talk to them. If I'm hearing banjos, then I'm not going to come in because you're not ready for my message. And even though I use humor in my approach, and so I was thinking about, what is my because? My because is I have saved lives, and I can show you the lives that I have saved from the emails for the students who send them to me, and the parent who calls me in the middle of the night from Alaska saying, what do I do? So it is anything. It could be education, it can be nonprofit, it can be corporate, it can be universities, and it's the universe saying, this is where you need to be. And that might sound a little out there, but honestly, that's people who want to do better and be better people. That's my audience.
Okay. What's the story behind the shoes?
I am the rainbow speaker with okay. The story with the shoes. I am the rainbow sneaker speaker. And so I want people to know that it's fun, even if you don't know what the rainbow symbolizes. They look at that and they're like, okay, and that'll make your decision whether or not you want to talk to me. That's very, very cool with me. If you think I'm too far out there, I'm not your cup of tea, that's fine. And so since that day that student said it was easier pretending to be a boy than it was to be gay, I have vowed every day that I was a school counselor, I had something rainbow on me so that everyone else would know. So I had a rainbow lanyard at school. So when I come to conferences or workshops or even in the airport, I have something on me to symbolize rainbow. Now, I'm also very, very cautious knowing that not everyone is super, super receptive. And so I might tone it down a little bit. But here, I'm National Speaker Association. This is my first conference. You should probably edit that out because that'll time out. But I love having rainbow sneakers. It's one of my things.
Okay. No, I love that. Okay, so I don't know how to ask this. What are your differentiators versus? So if I'm in the market to
Mm-hmm.
Hire a speaker in this area, what makes you different than their other choices?
I think it is, will we have rapport with whomever is contacting me? And if I am not the fit, then fantastic. Then I'm cool with that. Let's share the wealth. And you're not going to hurt my feelings. It's not. It has to be a win-win. And so from the very first email or video chat or whatever it is, I am authentically Lisa Koenecke. Lisa K, your everyday gay. So in my home office, I have rainbows everywhere. They'll see that. I also have my degrees on the wall so that they know that I can be taken seriously. I'm a visionary leader looking at just let's be kind to people. And so in that market, yep, and if I am too expensive, let's talk about some things. If you want to buy books in lieu of paying me a speaker's fee, great. You want to, whatever it might be. So I think it is about that relationship with whomever is making the decision.
So it's more kind of customized there a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Sun's going down quickly. So
Uh-huh.
Probably have about 15 minutes left.
Okay.
So humor, you're very quick on your feet. Where do you think your humor comes from? Obviously some pain in there too.
Yep.
And as a mechanism, humor is used. How much of that is, my computer brain wants to go, okay, what percentage of your humor is made up of pain and what percentage is not? So something like that, where it comes from.
If I were to go back and look at my childhood, I was the class clown, Still am, but I also knew the boundary line. I knew what I could get away with and what I would get in trouble for. And so if I could make you laugh, then you wouldn't make fun of me. And that has served me well wherever I am. And what I love about humor, not at anyone's expense, it's always about bringing people together. And so to me, I have a very, very loud laugh. And if that's the one thing that, people can gravitate toward, I'm all about that. And I will, again, it's never at anyone's expense. It is, I do think that I'm quick on my feet, very, very quick-witted, and it is, and I will laugh at myself. I love being that role model, especially for young people. And so one of my things will be, whether it is a middle school student or a graduate student, I will say, this is what it looks like to make a mistake as an adult. You're welcome. So then it's starting off. And when I do my presentations, I start off with humor, because speaking on diversity, equity, inclusion, or anything LGBTQ plus can be, oh, I'm not really sure what I should say or what I shouldn't say. And so I start every a land acknowledgement first. So I always start with that. And then I always show a picture of me I show a picture of a beaver and me being homecoming queen. And so I'm not going to tell you why those are there, but that's how I start the presentation, with that humor, talking about, this was me, now let's move ahead.
Like, everything in your questionnaire we've covered, because you're quick like that. It's annoying, honestly, how efficient you are with, like,
sorry,
the tasks that I'm getting. Yeah, you should be.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's the thing to be sorry for.
Yeah.
Not excel at. No, it's fucking awesome. I think, I don't know. I just keep wanting to go back to the passion piece of, the why and how it comes through. The problem is, I think it already has come through in several ways in these questions and things.
I have one more way.
Yes,
one more way.
Yes, and anything that you want to get. I literally just went through your questionnaire, like, did it, talked about it.
Yep.
12-year-old,
Yep.
All the things.
Yep.
And like, okay, what else do you want to say?
One of the main reasons that I'm finally doing what I'm doing is there are so many people who have blazed the trail for me to be safe. It hasn't been an easy journey, and especially if you're a person of color. So I know where my privilege comes from. And growing up, it wasn't an option to be gay. And I think that is the biggest thing. That's why I do what I do. My sister told me I was gay when I was 25 because I had no role models. I had no idea. I knew I liked hanging out around the girls. Duh. But then it was moving forward and kind of that struggle, that fight between yourself of, wait, this is who I am, but this is who I want to be. How can I live authentically? And so when I do my presentations and my talks, my book, whatever it might be, even just in the grocery store, it's, you know what, let's just be nice. Let's learn if we're afraid of something. Let's not hate because of stereotypes that we were taught when we were young. Babies they're not born to hate. When babies come out, they're happy. All of that hatred comes from the nature, nurture, et cetera, et cetera. So it is about honoring the past, living the present, and then looking into the future to what it could be, because we're going to have a lot more friends who are going to identify as transgender than I think the world might be ready for right now.
Yeah, can I come on out? Okay, am I going to get persecuted? Please.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to join you.
Yep. Yes. Pronouns, restrooms, whatever it might be. Yeah, that's what it's all about. And so, yeah. And that's what I want it to be. I want it to be where it's not, you look at someone and you're like, instead of judging them and picking, hello, friend. And that's one of my things. Rather than saying, hello, ladies and gentlemen, hello, friends. Good morning, boys and girls. Good morning, scholars. That would be wonderful. And then next year, I'll probably work on eradicating guys so that we can have the, rather than saying, hey guys, or you know what, all the guys are here or whatever it might be. So that'll be my next project when I'm queen.
Just gonna bump up the light sensitivity a little bit.
Can you throw me my water bottle too, please?
I can gently toss it.
Thank you. Awesome.
So, that was a good idea getting the Powerade bottle and just filling it up with this. Things. Okay. You have been through arguably a shit ton of persecution, of hatred,
Yep.
of torment. Many people would spend their lives in a corner beside themselves.
Right.
How did you avoid that? What do you think it was inside you, and where did it come from initially? Was it a parent? Was it
The biggest influence in my life was my grandmother, and she was nice to everyone. She never said an ill word about anyone, and she was just always just gentle and kind and calm, and she loved me unconditionally. That's where I learned it. It wasn't in my family of birth. It was from my grandma. And then as I moved through, then I was a camp counselor and a camp director, and at camp I learned the motto of I'm third. And how I live that is by putting friends and families first, and then it goes family first, then friends, and then I'm third. And that's kind of how I want to cure my pain, my trauma. And it's not, you can never compare people's stories. It's all different, you know, and later I can tell you my personal story, but we won't get into that one right here. It's just about, I am that rainbow phoenix that has, you know, thrived. And I'm very, very fortunate. So many people have helped me along the way. And so I couldn't do it alone.
What do you say to people that go, oh, well, okay, now we hear about these, you know, these bathrooms and whatever, like, when will it be enough? How do you respond to that?
Wouldn't it be wonderful if we didn't have to have these issues? I agree. And my friend, if you have never had anything litigated at the Supreme Court level, imagine that is your privilege. Now, I'm not saying I'm holier than thou or anything like that, but when is it going to be enough? It's going to be enough when we don't have to have the fights in litigation, in persecution, whatever it might be. And that's not just for the LGBT world. I mean, you know, we're still fighting the civil rights movement in America. And so I think that it's trying to educate people more about our similarities than our differences. And I think that that's when that happens, right? Then I don't know the answer to that, other than we all have to look at ourselves first. We have to look at our own biases so that we can become better. Because once you become an other, depending upon where your privilege status is, it's really hard to get out of that other. And I don't ever want to be an other. And so how can I use my voice and my privilege to help build up those who don't have a voice, whether it is identity expression or religion or language or whatever it might be, ability.
So I think I just have one or two more questions.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. I'm hungry. Now I've lost the question. What am I getting if I hire you? Tell me about the audience experience.
When you hire me, you will get an experience like no other. And it will be one where people will feel connected and a relationship. I am relatable. I am down to earth. I'm Lisa Kay, your everyday gay. And humor, to me, that's the connector right there. I know the statistics. I know lots of different things that research has taught us about the brain and how early we know we identify and the best way to be an ally. And so the results that you will get from me will be, you'll have a better ROI, I can tell you that, because you're going to have better staff engagement because they're going to know what to say and what not to say. You're going to have reduced turnover because people will feel safe in your place, school, synagogue, whatever it might be, corporate office. And it's just, it's so good to think about the future. It's so nice to be an inclusive company, whether it is the registration forms, whether it's signage, whatever it might be, so that at the end of the day, it's not just about the dollars and cents, which is important, but that ROI is bringing up the whole the climate and culture of the company. And maybe you have changed some policies. That's wonderful. Maybe your strategic plan has changed. I can help with all of those things. Maybe I've sparked a thought of, you know what? We could have a supplier diversity program. We don't have to use that big box store. We can go local. And so I percolate ideas to help your inclusion go through the roof.
Perfect. Last question. Your catchphrase. What is your catchphrase and where did it come from?
Lisa Kay, your everyday gay?
Yes, that one.
I had a friend actually come up with that one. So I started doing, when the book first came out, I wanted to promote the book. And so I was doing 30 Days of Gay with Lisa Kay. So in June, Pride Month, I did short little videos literally about the book. So they were very, very funny. You have to follow me to know that. And again, it was opening a door to conversations to say, even if I'm the only person you know who's gay, she's really funny. Let's give her a chance. That's what it was all about. Not that you have to be my friend, but maybe you'll be nice to that next person that you see. And so doing all of the videos, we came up with a jingle. She's Lisa Kay, your everyday gay. Have a gay day. So that's what is at the end of the video, and you learn something. They're under 2 minutes. They're fabulous. So don't expect them to go viral, but I am the person you want to just sit next to, whether it's a bar stool or, next to the barista in the coffee store. And yeah, let's talk, because we probably have things more in common than you think.
Anything to add?
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, you've been fantastic. And